What if everything you've learned about prayer and connecting with God is incomplete? There is a specific technique used by Jesus and mentioned in the Gospels that modern science now confirms is the key to reprogramming your mind and eliminating suffering. This isn't religion, it's a practical method. Think about this for a moment. What if the true power of prayer wasn't in the words you repeat, but in the state of consciousness you access? What if the secret Jesus tried to show us all along wasn't just about asking, but about feeling the answer before you even see it? Perhaps the reason so many people pray, yet so few manifest results, is precisely because they still haven't understood what he truly meant when he said, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." What Jesus was teaching was a hidden principle, a divine formula for aligning your mind with the Creator. He wasn't just speaking to the body or the intellect. He was speaking to the soul. And when you understand what he truly meant, something shifts within you. A light turns on, and suddenly prayer ceases to be a request and transforms into a living experience of creation. But why does almost no one talk about this? Because the secret isn't in religion, it's in consciousness. Jesus didn't come to establish temples of stone. He came to teach how to build temples within the mind, where every thought, every emotion is a seed planted in the invisible field of the Spirit. And it is in that very field that manifestation happens. Have you ever noticed how the teachings of Jesus and the principles of the law of attraction are saying the same thing, just in different languages? While modern science talks about frequency, vibration, and neuroplasticity, he said, "If your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light." What he really meant was, if your inner vision, your imagination, your focus is aligned with good, with love, with faith, then your entire reality will be transformed. And this is the point that almost everyone has missed. Jesus spoke of an awakened mind, a mind reprogrammed for the divine. He knew the kingdom of heaven wasn't a distant place, but a state of consciousness. When he said, "The kingdom is within you," he was showing us the map to manifestation. The path to abundance, to healing, to love, and to peace isn't out there, but inside of you. Now, imagine what your life would be like if you could access this state of consciousness daily. If instead of praying by asking, you prayed by feeling. If instead of fearing the future, you created it with the same confidence that a seed has to blossom after the rain. The truth is, Jesus didn't leave us a manual for suffering, but one of power. The only thing is, this power needs to be awakened, and that's what you're going to discover in this video. What you are about to hear could completely change the way you understand prayer, faith, and even your own mind. It is a journey inward, where the spiritual and the scientific meet, where the words of Jesus take on new meaning, and where you will understand how to apply in practice the very method he used to manifest miracles. Before we continue, I want to ask you something simple yet important. If you believe that nothing happens by chance, and that the fact you are hearing this now has a purpose, then take a moment to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This helps the message reach more people who, like you, are awakening to something greater. And there's more. There's special material in the first pinned comment, created to help you apply all of this in a practical way. It's a simple but transformative step-by-step guide that will lead you to reprogram your mind and align your heart with the divine power of manifestation. Access the link and discover how to feel the presence of God working within you in a way you may have never experienced before. Because by the end of this video, you will understand the most powerful revelation of all, the secret hidden for centuries, the one Jesus tried to show us in every miracle, in every word, and that science is now beginning to prove. The mind is the true altar, and feeling is the most powerful prayer that exists. You are about to discover something that could change the way you relate to God, to the universe, and to yourself. take a deep breath and allow yourself to listen to the very end, because the final revelation will be the most powerful of all. Jesus did not speak in codes. He spoke in a spiritual language, and when he said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free," he wasn't just referring to a religious belief. He was talking about an inner awakening. The truth that sets you free is the understanding of who you truly are, a being created in the image and likeness of God, endowed with the same creative power that shaped everything that exists. The only thing is, this power has lain dormant in many of us, hidden under layers of fear, guilt, and a faith learned from the outside in, rather than from the inside out. Most people pray, but few feel. Few place themselves in the vibrational state of what they are asking for. And that is why Jesus insisted so much on faith, not as a concept, but as a state of consciousness. He didn't say, "Ask and perhaps it will be given." He affirmed with conviction, "Whatever you ask for, believing you have already received it, will be given to you." Note that well, believing you have already received it. That is the essence of manifestation. It's the point where faith and science converge. Dr. Emmet, one of the greatest spiritual interpreters of Jesus' teachings, said that thought is the purest form of prayer. He explained that the human mind is the channel through which divine power flows. When you think with love, faith, and confidence, you are opening the floodgates of your inner self for the Spirit of God to manifest. But when you think with fear, doubt, or resentment, you block that flow. And that is exactly what Jesus meant when he spoke of, "You cannot serve two masters." You cannot serve faith and doubt at the same time. Mental reprogramming, therefore, is the restoration of that state of purity. It's when you learn to think as God thinks, to feel as God feels, and to live as if the promise has already been fulfilled. And this is where the real secret comes in. Jesus used imagination as a spiritual tool. When he said, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you have already received it," he was teaching us to create internal images of wholeness, healing, and abundance, and to feel those images as if they were real. Modern science calls this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself according to predominant thoughts and emotions. In other words, what you focus on expands, and what you feel repeatedly becomes your reality. When Jesus healed the sick, it wasn't magic, it was consciousness. He saw the person not as sick, but as perfect, restored, whole. And it is precisely that vision, that state of consciousness that created the healing. But what does it mean to apply this in your daily life? It means learning to pray as Jesus prayed. He would withdraw into silence. He would close the door to his room and connect with the Father who was in secret. And this detail is crucial. The secret wasn't the physical place, but the internal state. When you close the door of your mind to the external noise and enter the silence of the soul, that is where God speaks. The secret of Jesus was the silent prayer of consciousness, a practice of feeling the answer before the question. When you pray in the traditional way, you speak, you ask, you repeat. But when you pray consciously, you feel. You create within yourself the sensation of already living what you desire. It is in that moment that the universe begins to move. It's not the request itself that creates, but the feeling of possession, of gratitude in advance. Emmet said, "Scientific prayer is the act of seeing good in the place of evil, of seeing harmony where there is chaos." In other words, it's using the mind as a mirror of divine perfection. This changes everything. Because when you start to see the world through the eyes of faith, reality responds to that vision. Jesus knew this. That's why he never reacted to chaos. He slept in the midst of a storm, healed with a simple word, and multiplied loaves with serenity. The secret was a mind at peace, totally united with the Father. And when you reach that same state, your life begins to reflect miracles. But here's the point that almost no one talks about. Reprogramming the mind isn't just about changing thoughts. It's about changing emotional frequency. It's about feeling differently. Because emotion is the fuel of creation. A thought without feeling is like a seed without water. It doesn't sprout. Jesus taught that the heart is the center of life, and that from the heart flow the wellsprings of existence. This means that everything you experience in the outer world first began within you. If you have been living in scarcity, perhaps your mind has been trained in lack. If you have been living with anxiety, perhaps your imagination is addicted to fearing the future. But none of this is permanent. The good news is that your mind is malleable, and Jesus came precisely to show that you can transform any reality from within. Imagine waking up every morning feeling a deep peace, a quiet certainty that everything is moving in your favor. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing a reflection full of faith and purpose. This is not a distant dream. It is the natural result of one who lives in tune with the Christ consciousness. And this is where the teaching of Emmet joins perfectly with that of Jesus. Both spoke of replacing negative thoughts with divine ones. When Jesus said, "Do not worry about tomorrow," he was teaching a psychological and spiritual principle: to remain in the now, in the vibration of trust. Mental reprogramming, in the light of Jesus' teachings, is the return to original harmony. It is the moment you stop being a slave to circumstances and become a conscious creator of your reality once again. When you begin to practice prayer correctly, not by asking but by affirming, something profoundly changes. It's as if the universe responds to your new vibration. You stop repeating, "Lord, help me," and start declaring, "Lord, I know I am already being helped." And this simple shift in vibration opens pathways that once seemed impossible. Now, think for a moment of all the times you asked for something with an afflicted heart, but did not receive. Perhaps you didn't receive because deep down your heart was still vibrating in lack, not in faith. Jesus didn't teach to pray with desperation, but with conviction. He didn't wait to see in order to believe. He saw within so that he could see without. And that is the key that transforms everything. Because when you change the way you see the world changes the way it presents itself to you. That's what "if your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light" means. Now imagine you are in the midst of a difficulty. Instead of fighting against it, Jesus would teach you to change how you perceive it. He would tell you, "Give thanks before you receive." This isn't delusion. It's an act of creative faith. Gratitude is the emotion that accelerates manifestation because it declares to the universe, "I already have it. I already am it." And here is the most powerful revelation of all. The secret of Jesus to reprogramming the mind is to feel the end from the beginning. When he prayed, he already felt the work was finished. When he said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me," he hadn't seen the miracle yet, but he already felt it as real. It is this vibration of certainty, this feeling of unity with the Creator, that transforms the invisible into reality. You can apply this right now. Close your eyes for a few seconds and imagine your life as if everything has already worked out perfectly. See it, feel it, give thanks for it. Do this every day in silence as Jesus did, not to convince God, but to align yourself with Him. And if you want to take the next step on this journey and learn how to apply this practically, there is material prepared for this purpose. It's in the first pinned comment. It was created for those who want to understand, feel, and live this power in a true way. Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is within you," and perhaps now you are beginning to understand what that really means. The kingdom is not a place you go to, it's a state you activate. It's when you silence fear, expand faith, and feel the divine presence as a part of who you are. When this consciousness awakens, life changes. Prayers become alive, signs begin to appear, Synchronicity becomes the language of God conversing with you. And with every step you realize that nothing was ever outside. The power was always within you, waiting for the right moment to be remembered. And that moment is now. When Jesus said, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move." He wasn't talking about blind faith or believing out of fear or obligation. He was talking about a state of consciousness, a silent, deep and unshakable certainty that is born within the heart when the mind and spirit become one with God. That is the faith that manifests, the faith that creates, the faith that turns the impossible into reality. And it is this faith that begins to flourish when you understand and apply the true secret He revealed, the secret of the divine reprogramming of the mind. Now you understand. Prayer is not a request. It is a communion. It is not repeating words, but vibrating in tune with the Creator. Jesus showed us that when you feel the result before you see it, when you place yourself in the state of what you desire, the universe has no choice but to respond. Because everything you feel deeply already exists, you are simply tuning in to that frequency. Suffering, scarcity, fear, and guilt are not divine punishments. They are signs of a mind disconnected from its source. Jesus came to restore that connection, to remind us that we are co-creators, not victims of reality. He showed, with His life, that a miracle is the natural result of a mind aligned with love, that healing happens when consciousness awakens, that bread multiplies when faith overflows. And the mental reprogramming He taught is not complex, it is simple. But what is simple requires presence. It requires surrender. It is silencing the internal noise and listening to the still, small voice that has always been there, deep within. When Jesus withdrew to pray, He wasn't running from the world. He was returning to the center. And it is this return to the center that you need to practice every day. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your heart as a fertile field. Every thought is a seed. Every emotion is the water that nourishes it. If you plant fear, you reap scarcity. But if you plant faith, love, and gratitude, you reap miracles. This is how the divine law works. The same law that governs the universe, the same law that Jesus understood in its depth. He came not just to save us, but to teach us how to create. He gave us the code, and that code is consciousness. When you think of God as something distant, you create separation. But when you feel God within you as a living, pulsating force, you enter the vibration of the inner Christ, and that is where miracles happen. The mind reprogrammed according to the teachings of Jesus does not doubt. It rests, it trusts. It doesn't ask, "Will it happen?" but affirms, "It has already happened." Because on the spiritual plane, everything is already finished. It's just a matter of aligning your frequency to that which already is. Perhaps you have been through much pain, loss, and disappointment. Perhaps you have prayed for strength and saw no answer. But now, at this very moment, you are beginning to understand that the answer was always within you. Your mind has the power to create new realities. And when you learn to use it in tune with divine love, nothing is impossible. Jesus said, "I and the Father are one." That is the consciousness that transforms. When you affirm this within yourself, not as a pretty phrase, but as a felt truth, you change your energy field, your body reacts differently, your life begins to reorganize around this new vibration, and everything that once seemed blocked begins to flow again. The reprogramming of the mind, according to the teaching of Christ, is a return to love. It is letting fear die, doubt be silenced, and faith flourish. It is waking up every day remembering that you are not alone, that there is an infinite force acting through you, and that this force responds to your vibration, not your words. That is why Jesus said, "When you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. He was describing the journey inward, the dive into the silence where the divine is revealed. To close the door is to disconnect from appearances. It is to stop looking at the problem and start feeling the solution. It is to trust that the unseen is already in motion, even if nothing seems to be changing yet. And it is precisely in that state of trust that the miracle manifests. Because God doesn't need to be convinced, He needs to be felt. When you feel God within you, life changes. What was impossible begins to happen naturally, effortlessly, as if the universe was just waiting for you to remember who you really are. So before finishing this video, make a silent commitment to yourself. Starting today, you will pray differently. You will feel, not just ask. You will affirm, not doubt. You will connect to the Father not with words, but with presence. And above all, you will start to live as someone who already possesses what they desire. After all, the hidden secret of Jesus for reprogramming the mind is not about controlling the world. It's about creating from the heart. It's about accessing the kingdom of heaven within yourself and letting the light of divine consciousness transform every aspect of your life. And if this message has touched you, if it made sense within your soul, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. This isn't just a gesture, it's a way of spreading this energy to more people who need to remember this power. And if you want to learn how to put all of this into practice in a simple and profound way, there is special content waiting for you in the first pinned comment. It will guide you step by step in this process of awakening, alignment, and conscious manifestation. Remember, Jesus didn't come to show what He could do. He came to show what you can do. The same Spirit that dwelt in Him dwells in you. The same power that created the miracles is available now at this very moment within your heart. And when that truth becomes alive in you, nothing is impossible anymore.